It's easy to forget now, but Klay Thompson was slumping by his standards pre-Christmas. Yeah, the scoring average was over 20 a game, but just under 34% from three. That is very un-Klay-like. That number has shot up 14% since that time. Recently sat down with our 3D Dennis Scott to talk about what's changed since the holidays.
Klay Thompson is one of the greatest shooters this game has ever seen.
Nobody in the history of the game can heat up like this guy can.
Here's Thompson for three. Oh, he is on fire. Thompson again. Klay Thompson is 10 for 10 from three-point range. An incredible performance.
I want to go back to early in the season. There was so-called some slump you were supposed to be in. Shooters shoot. What's so much different now?
I think we're at full strength. I think my game kind of is intertwined with how the team's doing as far as ball movement, flow, pace, all those things. Because when we're playing with great pace and flow, I don't really have to take contested shots. I think my shot quality goes up greatly. And that's what happens when you play with great players. My game just meshes well when we're moving the ball well and we're playing at a high level.
Do you guys get enough credit for being so talented and so unselfish?
I think people have just gotten used to it. I think our style that we have played these last, 5, 6 years have got people accustomed to seeing us hit the backdoor cutter, make the extra pass, hit the open man. We might not get enough credit for it, but I know people love to watch it. It's more fun to be a part of, and people are just used to it at this point. They just are used to the Warriors, having a 35 assist night with 10 turnovers and, blowing out the competition, but it's harder than it looks.
Speak about turnovers. Is that one thing now that pretty much half the season is gone, you guys are starting to tighten up a little bit, just taking better care of the ball?
We do this every year. We always start out the year playing a little sloppy, and then Steve always yells at us, brings us back into practice, has us doing passing drills, jump stop, pivot, chest pass. But he always reiterates, the simple leads the spectacular. And he always tells us when we just make that simple play, 4 or 5 possessions from then, you're gonna hit a home run. That's when beautiful plays happen, whether it's an alley-oop to KD, Steph 35-foot pull-up in transition, Draymond throwing a couple oops, Andre catching them. That's when those happen.
The boogeyman, Mr. DeMarcus Cousins, is back from an Achilles injury.
Here's Durant with it around the screen by Cousins. Big roll, goes there. Welcome back to Marcus Cousins.
Seen him in practice for his rehab to get to where he is now, and now he's on the floor. What's so different?
When he was in Sacramento, he kind of had to take the team on his shoulders for them to just be above 500. No offense, but I don't think he's played with this much talent unless it was Team USA. So the floor is open for him, and he is so unselfish as far as setting screens, making the extra pass. And he's just really smart, too. If I'm coming off him for DHO, he's going to position himself to the defender has to go around him. Using his big body, coming off screens, him being able to stretch the floor, knock down threes is such an underrated factor for us. And just being a great basketball player, you can plug him anywhere and he will make the right play.
Klay Thompson's on an incredible run, and if you think about it, he's having a pretty incredible career as well. 5-time All-Star, holds these NBA records for most points in a quarter, most points in under 30 minutes, most threes in a game now, and tied most consecutive three-pointers with 10. That's a Hall of Fame resume in the making for Klay Thompson. What do you think was it just inevitable that he got hot again and the faucet sort of turned back on for Klay Thompson, or has something changed since Christmas?
Yeah, Klay, as you can tell, you can see all those records that he has. He puts the work in. You can't be that consistent, that well, have all those records in this NBA, playing alongside Steph and KD, and not put the work in. So sometimes you just start off slow. It's a matter of time of getting your rhythm, get your legs back underneath you, getting back in basketball shape, NBA shape. And he's cooking. I mean, he's having a great season. They're obviously playing terrific as well. They've won 10 straight basketball games. Now they bring Boogie back. It's going to be even more space for him because if teams decide to double Boogie, he'll be open even more. He may not be the one open, but somebody's going to be open.
Well, and this new lineup, it's good. It's good so far. They've played 42 minutes together, the new starters. They're plus 31 in that time, shooting 56%, 43 assists on their 50 made baskets as a unit.
Yeah, the efficiency level offensively for this group is probably going to stay that high because all 5 players have an ability to impact the game. It's great to see Boogie Cousins with the explosion, being able to finish above the rim like that, able to now step behind the three-point line, knocking down threes, getting out, running the floor, first one down. Clay mentioned his screen setting and his willingness to make plays for other people. This group is going to be scary good, and it's going to be fun to watch. I think it's going to be challenging to slow them down, and he adds elements to them that honestly they haven't had, because he's a guy that when you throw the ball to him on the block, he forces the defense to do this.
Right.
And that's when Curry and Thompson and KD start moving without the ball, and it's all downhill from there.
They've had a few different effective centers at what they do, but they've never had an offensive threat the likes of DeMarcus Cousins in the middle of that lineup. Saturday night in Boston, they got to show that part of their game off and a little defense late in that win over the Celtics.
Yeah, great game to watch. I was watching that at home with the kids. Boogie can do a lot of things, man. Boogie inside, he's a great passer. He's an underrated passer. Terrific rebounder. He's physically imposing. He's physical out there. He can shoot the three, but them as a whole, Steph Curry's getting off, KD's getting off. You can't double those guys. Klay Thompson's going to be open. Draymond's making plays for everybody. They're shooting 56% from the floor in those 4 games with Boogie out there. Their defensive rating is going up. Their passing, their assists are going up. They're just very efficient to what Coach Fish said. They're playing at a high level. I don't see it slowing down because Boogie's going to continue to get in shape and he's going to get familiar with the rest of his guys. And as that happens, they're going to keep going like this.
Well, that defense has always been there in this run under Steve Kerr, maybe underappreciated over the years, but again, you saw it last night against the Celtics.
Yeah, very underappreciated because of the shooting and the offensive output that they put on the floor. We always focus on that end, but as you watch here defensively, always great at putting multiple bodies in the paint, protecting the rim, multiple guys in their defense. Klay Thompson, great on ball defense, but Draymond Green was there. Here again, multiple guys engaged, bodies around the basketball, forcing tough, contested shots. We don't think of them as a physical team, but they bump bodies. They're not afraid to get after it. Draymond, and now with Cousins, he's a guy that physically can stand people up. And when he's there, and you see Sean Livingston with the smooth behind the back pull up, and that great defense, it puts them out into the open floor. Now they're attacking you without your defense being set, and which then makes them more dangerous offensively. And so let's not disrespect the fact that they've been one of the greatest defensive teams along with the great offensive shooting.
Absolutely. 10 straight wins now for the champs. Remember, Cousins is still only playing under 17 minutes a game. He's still getting worked into this rotation. And don't be surprised if they pick somebody up in the waiver wire buyout season after the trade deadline. Watch for yourselves. Monday night in Indiana, the opener of a doubleheader on the network. Then it's the Hawks in LA against the Clippers right here on NBA TV. Coverage at 6:30 Eastern Time. More to come. It wasn't just the heat, it's the misery in Manhattan. How Miami became the latest to sink the Knicks lower in the standings. Plus, a rare bright spot in Cleveland's long winter. Much more from Sunday when we continue here on Game Time.
But the big fella's favorite All-Star memory happened during the pregame of the 1996 event in San Antonio. Shaq looks back with Ro Parrish on this edition of Storytime with Shaq.
'96 All-Star Game, San Antonio. This game is legendary for a number of reasons, especially for the posterization of one David Robinson. You've gone on record a number of times. He didn't speak to you, so you contrived the story that he didn't sign your autograph. How did that story come about?
That story was early, and I made it up. He was always nice to me, but I have to be mad at somebody that dominated. And he was a nice guy, so I made it up. And I finally told him 30 years later, hey, I made that story up. He was like, yeah, I was wondering, because I always spoke to you at night stuff. But I made it up. But before that game, I'm at the crib. I'm in San Antonio, boom, boom, boom. Los Angeles Lakers, Shaquille O'Neal, boo. I'm like, y'all booing me? I was the first original big man in San Antonio. I was there way before Dave Robinson was there. I was like, okay, y'all gonna boo me. So every chance I got to score on him, I had to. So I think Penny got it, threw it to Grant. Grant gave me the bounce pass, and Dave Robinson was right there. I was like, ooh, got him. And I cocked that thing back, and I threw it down. boom, and I looked back at Michael Jordan. He's my fraternity brother. And he gave me that sign. I just threw it up to Mike. You know, I had a pretty good game, and I thought I was getting the MVP, but that was the year that Mike came back and they gave it to Mike.
Shaq played extremely well. I thought he was the MVP. I think he could have easily been.
When he raises that trophy, are you saying that's my trophy? What are your thoughts?
I'm saying it, but anytime they pick somebody that's better than you, you can't be mad.
So back to MJ, we know about his legendary performance and he sees the MVP, but you had a great moment in the pregame where you and MJ go one-on-one, and you kind of, we won't say kind of, you shook him up a little bit, gave him that dream shake.
A lot of people don't know about my handle. I was the first big dude to take it off the glass and go coast to coast and either make a play or throw it down. Not Giannis, not Boogie Cousins, me. I was the first one to take it down with style and class, the eye with the handles and throw it down. So Mike didn't know that. And Mike's a great defensive player, so he was there. So now I said, okay, Akeem, throw it in the bounce, get him back in. Beep, 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 beep. And the only thing that made it good is I made the shot. I made the shot. Well, you know, turn around, baseline jumper. And I didn't know people was watching because when I made the shot, the crowd said, ooh, and ah. And it's crazy that that's still a meme today.
Is that the best all-star moment you've ever experienced?
I would say, because, you know, even though it wasn't a real moment, it was a real moment. A little street style, a little and one, a little you know, I had to show it to him.
Rip, you ever have any all-stars slow walk you with the non-trash talk before a game?
Oh, man, yes. It was two guys that really stand out. One, our colleague, Grant Hill, and Vince Carter. I mean.
What would they do?
No, they would try to soft talk me. That's what I used to call it. Like before the games, you know, the mentality when you come out, you want to seek and kind of destroy. You don't want to be friends with the guy that you're playing against. And Grant and Vince, they will always come out at the beginning of the game right before tip-off, like, how your family? How your kids doing? You know, are you healthy? And, you know, they might foul you hard, but then they'll help you up and say, hey, man, you okay? And I didn't want that. I didn't like that. I didn't want you to like me because that was my motivation to go out there and play my game. When I started liking people, I just didn't feel like I had the same impact on the game. But Grant Hill and Vince Carter, them two guys stick out.
They were the silent assassin.
Yes, they was.
Oh, man. And for us, like, I always think back to the Bulls season. We had such a different mentality, and part of it, honestly, was because of Pat Riley. Like, we weren't even – I mean, we would get fined if we helped guys up on the opposing team off the floor. Like, you couldn't – like, if you knocked a guy, you couldn't help him up. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, so he created this bunkers mentality. Like, it was just us against the world. I mean, it was like – I remember I think it was my rookie year, I ended up giving, like, Michael Jordan, like, a forearm shiver across the throat, right? Knocked him down. And, you know, he jumped up. This was, like, before the flagrant foul. And then, you know, I took a step back. Then Oak ran over there real quick. So then I got bold. Then I took a step forward. But you just really did. Like, it was, like, personal.
Yeah.
Like, literally, the way you would compete. Now, the irony of it is it doesn't have to be. And Grant and Vince will teach you that. I mean, you see it today. A lot of these guys are really friendly, but they're trying to cut your heart out.
Yeah.
You know, but they do. They want to come up and pat you on the back. How are the kids, man? Everybody good?
Yes.
You good? You get, let's get dinner, you know, pop a bottle of wine down the line before they cut your heart out.
And, Chris, I think that was hard for me, especially in the All-Star game, because now all the guys that you're competing against, especially guys like D. Wade, and we knew that we were going to meet them in the Eastern Conference Finals. So now I got to be friends with them because I knew that was my edge. And I knew that I tried everything to kind of try to slow him down. And now if we start to be friends, that's just going to give him another advantage to come out and lead his team to win. So that was always tough for me to kind of like befriend guys, especially when you compete against them.
So All-Star Weekend matters when you're trying to win a championship. That's what I just got from you.
Yeah.
All-Star Weekend, NBA TV and TNT has you covered starting at 11 a.m. on Friday.